You set out for Stalwart. The White March.
It's Darthier! With a whole pack of them!
We can take these bastards! Of course.
Look out! More of them by the fishery!
I shall. I'm here.
Say what you want about Dear Woodens. They haven't met the problem yet they couldn't solve by killing some scapegoats.
Of course. We need help! This way! Run! They'll kill us all!
Lava will be on seek! Lava will be...
Attack!
They're one fewer now. We gotta take better...
Onward! I'm here.
Lava will be on...
Following your lead. Death take you! Death take you!
Wait.
Dead on! Onward!
Back to the matron now! Katie's house is burning!
Of course. I'm here.
Help! The hut's coming down! You did it! You saved them both!
They've destroyed the stockade, Mother! It's...
Enough. They're gone. Ah, the champion of Defiance Bay. Must have been a long journey. Well, I'm sure you wagered on a more civilized welcome. Still, we're much obliged for your capable intervention. That's fine of you to say so, though I'm hoping your strengths lie more with arms than words. Stalwart isn't much more than a grease stain on a map. What roads we've got in the White March are basically tracks in the snow, and for every trader or adventurer that comes through, 3 of our own leave for good. But it weren't always so. There was a time when kings and queens sent their firstborn to these mountains, when the White March was the envy of empires. The Pargrin dwarves transformed the White March once. We could bring some of that greatness back to Stalwart, but we need the White Forge. Then you'll know that no one's felt as much as a summery breeze from the White Forge for over 200 years. I'm hoping you can do something about that. We've been trying to breach Durgan's battery for over a year now. Problem is, the other expeditions can't so much as dent the front door. A dozen different groups have come through at our request, and several more besides. Been hoping that one of them could clear the way through Durgan's battery. But young or old, green or seasoned, it don't seem to matter. They cast their spells, chisel at the door, and search the grounds until they've worn new treads into the old stone. The lucky ones eventually go home. Plenty more find themselves on the wrong side of a blizzard, or an ogre raiding party. We're an old mining town. Or we were until the Adirans pulled out and left us with a half-dug mine shaft and something resembling an inn. Since then, it's been a steady decline. You've seen the roads. Isn't much we can produce that the Valians can't ship cheaper. But the White Forge, well, if we could fire it up again and start producing Durgan steel, or something close to it, wouldn't matter if we're in the White March or the Living Lands, business would come. That's the long and short of it. We're laborers and fisherfolk, not adventurers. But Durgan steel could put Stalwart on the map again, open up the mines, bring in new business. We just need the White Forge. Because you can shave stone with it, cleave cast iron in two, and the stuff's as rare as it is remarkable. If we could make something even half as good, we'd have a market at our doorstep and work enough for all of Stalwart. Where should I start? Ogres, blizzards, or sheer damned inaccessibility? It ain't for lack of trying, I'll tell you that much. Got untold riches in Durgan steel lying just inside, and never mind the White Forge itself. The Adirans who first settled Stalwart tried to crack it. So did the Valians, and every other cocky adventurer with more metal than sense. But the place has a funny way of sealing itself up. Front door stays shut, the tower entrances are clogged with rubble, and it's been impossible to blast a way in. It don't bear dwelling on. There's too many superstitions about that place as it is.
Killed each other off, or so the old books say.
Plenty of tales to go around, but none of them opened the battery. And the last thing people need is another reason to fear the place. Whatever it was, the other Pargrin dwarven settlements in the White March, Bone Picker, the Hawk, and the rest, emptied out not long after, moved to gentler, greener lands.
Had the right idea, if you ask me.
The battery's up the mountain to the north, a good hike away.
Near Galvino's place, huh?
So it is, though I was going to suggest dealing with that ogre camp before anything. Mestre Galvino, as the old crosspatch prefers it, lives by himself and keeps the wilder and beasts at bay through sheer foulness of his temper.
She means to say he's a skilled smith and animancer, who's lived in the shadow of Durgan's battery for over a decade.
And he butters his bread on both sides and fits his left shoe before his right, but that's neither here nor there.
Ain't nobody here fond of the man, but he's a clever hand and a quick study. It's a fool who thinks he stayed so close to the battery without figuring something about it.
You said as much to the last party, and we haven't seen hide nor hair of him since. Maybe they didn't run afoul of Baragon's ogres after all. Just watch your step. Galvino's place is a ways east of the battery, and folk who pass it bring unsettling tales. Belongs to flames that whisper. Matron Baragon's clan. Hunters tell me they've been active of late.
Hunting elk and otherwise minding their own damn business.
Minding their own business. Never mind the latest expedition's disappearance or the broken stockade.
I'm saying we shouldn't agitate them further.
The brawl outside was just the latest patch of trouble. The ogre clans are getting bolder, and we'll all sleep easier knowing they aren't circling our walls. Also, Baragons like to have whatever the last expedition found. Rumor has it they disappeared near her turf.
Killing a matron will only make our problems worse. The way to approach Baragon is with your hands held high.
If anyone could parley with an ogre, I suppose it'd be you. But they aren't known for their patience with prattle. Good. Before you leave town, stop by the Grave's Rest. Most visitors to Stalwart spend some time there, so Hafric and his patrons may be able to give you the lay of the land.
Been looking everywhere for you.
Finally, some proper weather. What do you say to a dip in those springs?
Don't see the harm. Building's thirsty work. Say, you're the one we have to thank for fighting off the ogres, right? Never thought I'd see one of the God-touched. I would have helped fight them monsters off, you know, if I didn't think I'd just get in the way. And with you there to handle things, everything turned out well enough, didn't it? Don't see why Havric's still sour at me. Oh, Havric's the innkeeper over at the Grave's Rest. I may have been hiding in the inn when the fighting started. The raid didn't improve his disposition any. Did you know he has a whole case of Fenlin liquor in there? I keep offering to buy it off him, but he says he's saving it up for when the battery's open again. As if we're gonna last that long. Anyhow, he said he'd thrash me up and down the mountain if I didn't leave him be. It's delusional is what it is. Point of fact, what with you dealing with ogres and everything, maybe you'd, be willing to help me out. Averick keeps all the good stock in the inn cellar, out of sight, you see. I mean, it's bound to be under lock and key, but I'm sure he wouldn't miss a single bottle. Not with everything that's going on. Shh! All right, keep it down. I didn't mean anything by it. But if you happen to come...
Fresh fish, freshly caught! Effigy's eyes! It looks at me! Ah!
You must forgive Zawa. I was not expecting you. Resting my eyes, I thought, waiting for the Malkachoa to bring me inside. It would seem I dozed. A good thing my master was not alive to see it. Are you real? Of course. I meant no offense, but I find it is best to ask when Malkachoa is involved. A small white mushroom. I have heard it called snowcap in these lands. It can reveal the true nature of many things. A teacher, not an owner. Zawa is a free man. Well, as free as any of us. I was freeing myself from vanity. Consider, how can one be vain who is bathed in the smell of dead fish? I had the idea when I passed this way earlier. I am pleased with the results so far. Yes, quite pleased. From battle, yes. I left them upon my enemies. These were struck against fear. These against pleasure. These against hatred. Those down there against greed and doubt. These were for vanity. I cannot take credit for all of them, but I did most of the good ones. I put them there in battle to remind myself what is real and what is not. Our worst enemies are inventions of the mind, pleasure, fear. When we see them for what they are, we become unstoppable. I feel I have been close, but never for more than an instant. In the moment when the pain is sharpest, the world becomes clear. In that moment, I am a match for anyone. Of course, I am fortunate to have suffered so much. If I did not suffer, I would not aspire to free myself from it. I would wander from one unfulfilling goal to the next. More wealth, a better station. My soul would wither, but to search for a place beyond suffering's reach is to nurture the soul, to harden it against the elements. Suffering is the greatest gift the gods have given us, their most beautiful, perfect creation. It is the hand that turns the wheel. Gods, no. What a way to travel the world. The usual way is to smear yourself with the ashes of the dead. But they do not burn their dead here, so I have to make do with what the land provides. The cold seems to conquer the smell. Even now, the scent hides itself. Disappointing. I was visiting a monastery not far from here. I found it empty, but I met a messenger as I left. He carried a call for aid. Seeing that he would find no monks at the monastery, I chose to go in their place. Zawa is no longer young, but in combat he is still the greatest of the Takan people. It seemed only right that he should go. I would not say I am hired. I seek no wage, and I promise no result. I have chosen a path, and my spoils come from walking it. And this fortress, this Durgan's battery, its people are gone. Zawa would know why. If one wishes to swim, it is no time to argue with the current. We are here together in this moment because a perfect force has willed it. Who is Zawa to argue? I will walk with you so long as the gods wish it so.
I
I cannot keep up this pace.
Hope I didn't seem ungrateful back there in the battlefield. And you went out of your way. Got real close. Didn't expect that. You know, for a second, I thought I was gonna finally see some answers. Foolish, of course. And why should I get answers? There's a world of Aethasians out there, don't know if their god's been blown up. Still, man can't help looking back. Guess you'd know that well as anyone. I might have turned my back on my god when he needed me. That's all I'll ever know. He'd tell me to trust him. Of course, it'd be a lot easier if I knew it was mine. But, maybe I don't need to. Something to think about, I guess.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door. You see many things that aren't there, Watcher. Perhaps the symbol was for your disappearing sanity, and we are to bid it farewell while you still have the wits to grieve for it. That symbol? The Godhammer. No riddle there, Watcher. It took 12 of us to build the Godhammer. Afterward, I took my leave of all of them to see what Margaret had in store for me. I've seen none of them since. Your kind has a way of interpreting its visions to fit the version of the truth you like best. But Margren's flame leaves no room for interpretation. Waste the time of others with your distortions and your fever dreams. It's always the way of the mad to try to convince others of a reality only they can see. But when your doctrine's the truth, it requires no convincing, only an opening of the eyes. I would purify you, Watcher, if I thought it would help. The cost of troubling me seems to worry you little. The cost of troubling me seems to worry you little.
Hey! Hey! You gotta stop it with that. I just about punched you to snap you out of it. You were saying things, but they weren't any words I ever heard. You were shaking so hard I thought you'd crack your spine. Well, it's nice to feel needed. I'd have woke you sooner, but I thought it'd be nice for you to be able to close your eyes a bit. Folks don't last long without sleep. You're twitchy these days. Reminds me of Meyerwald more than I'd like. Anything I can do, you just let me know. We're close on this one. Hang on a little longer. We'll get you fixed up.
How do you do?
I'm here. Um, I'm here. I'm here.
Find a good epic and a flask of Adira brandy, and I could spend some time here. I must say, I'm impressed.
locating divination tool. Well, that's what it will be. I have to calibrate it. Right now it seems to think you're a copper deposit. My Animancer contacts did suggest that a particular strong soul essence might interfere. I'm more interested in minerals in any case. I'm trying to recreate the instruments that first led the Pargrin dwarves to this mountain. This is my latest prototype. Centuries ago, dwarves carrying tools just like this one followed their readings to what is now the battery. If I can recreate their work, then I may be able to find ore deposits elsewhere. I was hoping to test it, but my arrival was delayed by word of the ogre attack. I haven't been able to find anyone to venture up the mountain since. Really? That'd be wonderful. I just have to adjust the device, you see. It should point you toward metal deposits. We already know the battery rests on some rich veins, but I was hoping to get a reading of the surrounding mountainside. If you can follow the readings to ore and bring back a sample, I can use it to refine the device. Thanks ever so much for this.
Back to work,
Let's have
everyone.
some
No time for
skewers while we're
dallying.
here.
A fine thing you reached us when you did. They would have burned the fishery next, mark my words. And the last thing this lot needs is another excuse to knock off early. Anyway, excuse the mess. If there's something you need, the clerk can get you sorted. Just watch your step if you've a mind to look around. The floors are slick and none too pleasant to fall on. Been running it 4 decades now. Reckon I can tell you what you want to know. It may stink of fish guts, but there's no place more critical to stalwart survival. Herds come and go, so there's seasons when our catch sustains the village. But try telling these folk as much. We go home each day covered to the elbows in fish oil and entrails, reeking of our work. Stalwart's shrinking, but it would disappear if we lost the fishers. I drive 'em hard, but I can't afford to do otherwise. Just about everything. I track the day's catches and see that our nets and hooks are in working order. My family's been in charge of the fishery since the early days of Stalwart. I know the best spots to find frost dive or an iron-toothed pike, and I make sure we don't overfish the speckleback. Need anything else?
They gone? Have those nasty brutes finally left? I heard the ogres outside, tearing down walls and murdering folk. Don't remember how things got this bad. But you're the new adventurer. Renengild's latest volunteer. A real spitfire, she told me. Bet you'd whip those layabouts at the mine into shape. Did you say something, dear? Me? I was the overseer at the mine, back when it was running. Got shut down decades ago when we couldn't sell or ship the stuff. But I still remember plenty about the mining business. And I got as many folk as I can digging out the entrance. Been praying to the salty wench that I don't forget too much afore they finish the job. Got to speak up? My hearing ain't what it was.
If they knew what was good for them, they'd be walking that fiery path instead of warming their hands at it.
Ooh, still can't feel my fingers. Thought I'd found shelter when I stumbled across this little village. Guessing you did too, huh? As much blood as there was in the streets, I'm lucky the ale's still flowing. Thought all the whispers about Durgan's battery were just village superstition. And maybe they are. But I might have been on my guard if I'd listened. I was part of an expedition, hunting for relics from Durgan's battery. We picked up a good haul, too. So it figures that's when the winds pick up and the sky starts dumping snow. We lost sight of the road. Meanwhile, something else found us. Took Liam out before we even realized we were surrounded. And then we see him coming out of the snow. These little four-armed wilder. Lagufoth, they're called. Quick little bastards. Francesca and I held them off as long as we could, but when they filled her full of darts, I turned tail and ran. Found my way here and thanked my luck for escaping the Lagufoth. Then come to find out that this town's got an ogre problem. I need to get those artifacts. Not that I'm in any shape to go after them myself, but I can't afford to return to Defiance Bay without something to show for my expedition. But you've got your own expedition to the battery, don't you? While you're out there, maybe you could look for my goods. Whatever's left of them. I'll give you a cut for anything you bring back, of course. I ain't asking for charity. I just can't afford to go home empty-handed. Like I said, we were treasure hunting near Durgan's battery when we were ambushed. What else do you want to know? Who? No, that would have been somebody else. We didn't meet with Renengild, or anyone else in town for that matter. We were operating on our own. We took out several loans to pay for our trip out here. I'm gonna have trouble if I don't pay them back. What's left of it should be near Durgan's battery. If you stumble across the Lagufoth, you'll know you're close. Just that it's been locked up tight for 200 years on account of those dwarves having a row. Which means that any trinkets from inside fetch a nice price. Sorry, I'm more of a businesswoman than a historian.